First thing that you're going to do for your armature is take the two pieces of cardboard that I've given you. I've given you a really big piece and a smaller piece. And you're going to line those up, so edge to edge, and put some tape across it. You want to make sure that you put the tape across the seam, not along the seam. Along the seam is not going to be as strong as putting it across. One person can be in charge of tearing tape. You can have kind of an assembly line that way if you want. But you want to end up with 6 to 10 pieces of tape along your seam there. The next thing you're going to do, this is my short piece. I'm going to put some tape over here before I try to join it together. So same thing, 6 to 10 pieces. So now I'm going to make it three-dimensional. So what I'm doing is folding this big piece, and I'm going to line it up with the small piece with the tape and start folding the tape around. This would be helpful. Use your group members. One person can hold it, another person can tape it. Smooth that out, make sure that it's going to stick. What I'm changing my section into is it's going to be a Thunderbird. So first thing, you have a group of people, so you should each be working on something, not just waiting for someone else to finish stuff. Everybody should have a job today then. Another group member could be working on is I'm going to do a beak. So I'm going to show you quick how I'm going to do it. There's many different ways that you could do it. I've got two pieces of the thinner paper that you're able to use at your table. And I'm going to just free cut this. You could draw it out if you want first. Remembering the size of your project. Okay, so I free cut this shape for my beak. And I've got two of them because I stacked up the paper. And what I'm going to do is cut halfway in the middle here, and I'm going to cut through a little bit there. And now if I take one of them, I push that together, that's the top of a beak. So if I push this together, this is going to be the bottom of my beak. So there's my beak there. So now I just need to join it on. Now as you're working at your table, there's some of this calendar paper out. Don't use this paper to add things on, okay, like this. If you do that, it won't last under the paper mache. What you're going to use this paper for, if you want to, is to build up sections. So I'm going to make my eyes so they stick out. I'm going to cut this in half by using the side of the table to tear it. And I'm going to roll this under so that my edge is cleaner. Okay, so that's going to be one eyeball. And here's my second eyeball. I'm going to need bigger pieces of tape in order to tape these eyeballs on. So I've got my section of totem laying down on the table. And I'm actually going to run tape up over the top of the eye and down to the cardboard. This is the only time you want to put kind of more tape on it than we might think we need to get it to stay. Same thing for the other eye. You don't want to have anything sticking out of this that's bigger than it is. Okay, you're making your project a lot bigger. So what I already cut is a piece that is the same width as my project, so I can have a wing out here and a wing out here. But you can see I definitely doubled the size of my project. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is sketch what I want the wing to look like. You don't want to have tiny little detail things that you're building because that's going to be hard to paper mache around. So there's one wing. Now when I cut this out, if you try to cut around and around and around like you would a piece of paper, if you're using this harder cardboard, it's not going to work very well. So what I'm going to do is cut in as far as I can that way. Now I'm cutting in through the side, just straight in to to that point there. I'm going to cut some of this away. If you're using the harder cardboard, you're going to cut it out sort of in chunks. So now I can get to that section. Okay, same thing over here. I'm going to cut in this direction now instead of trying to go back. Now, since I want actually 4 of these, so I can have a front and a back wing also for both sides, I'm going to trace this instead of drawing it again because it won't be the same. So I'm lining them up, and I'm going to actually just trace around it and then cut it out again. To be able to join this onto here, if I try to get that to stay, there's not any surface area to tape it to or to glue it to, so what I'm going to do is fold a tab. So I'm folding over about 1 inch of this, which for most of you is going to be about the length from the end of your finger to the first joint where it bends. So I'm just folding this back, so now I have more surface area that I can attach that to, and it's going to stay. Alright, there is a hot glue gun at your table. It's inside of the can. Not everybody's going to need the hot glue gun for their project, but if you use it, remember the tip of it is hot, the glue is hot, that's why it's called a hot glue gun. So I'm going to use the hot glue gun for putting my wings on. So what I'm going to do is squeeze out some hot glue on this side, and I'm going to attach this to the back actually. So that's going right to the back here. You need to hold it for just a couple of seconds. Make sure you don't stick your fingers in hot glue that's squishing out. Okay, now I can let go of that. I'm going to turn it around this way and do the same thing on this side. Put some hot glue on the back of this. Now I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to add this, because I don't want these to be flat. I want them to be 3-dimensional. So remember, I folded this edge, so I have some more surface area. First I'm going to place this. So if I put this here, it's going to stick out that far. That's good. It's okay that it's off a little bit here. When I paper mache, I'll be able to cover that up. And it's off because I folded this under. What I'm going to do is put some more hot glue on here and put it back where I decided it needed to go. Press from the inside too. Have that set up for a second. I'm going to go ahead and squirt a little bit of glue just right here so I can attach those together. Turn this around. Do the same thing. Now when I line this up the way I folded it, it's the wrong way. So I need to just fold this tab backwards. Once you're done with your hot glue gun, make sure you put it back into the can at your table so that we can reduce the risk of people getting burned. The last thing that you're going to do today is put your names on the inside of the short piece, the back of your project. Your finished armature for your totem section is due at the end of class today.